You know, I'm not the kind of guy who writes things like this often, but damn, I just need to get this out somewhere. Call it a confession, a scream into the void, or whatever you want. My name is Tom. I'm 34, living in a small town in Ohio, working as a mechanic. I've been married to Emily for 6 years. A typical American story. We met in a bar, fell in love over beers and dumb jokes. She was always radiant, with that special sparkle in her eyes that made me forget about everything else. I thought I knew her inside and out. Now, hold on to your coffee or whatever you have in hand. Yesterday, I accidentally found out that my wife has an OnlyFans account. Yep, the same Emily who used to wrinkle her nose when I joked about that kind of stuff. And that's not all. She's on Pornhub too. Not just as a viewer. You get what I mean. How did I find out? Oh, that's a story on its own. It all started when I was looking for an old fishing photo on my phone. I accidentally opened the wrong folder, the one where downloaded files are stored. And there was a video. Not a fish, and not me. At first, I didn't even realize. Then, I saw her tattoo. A tiny star behind her ear. Yeah, you get it. Saying I was shocked is an understatement. I sat on the edge of the bed with that damn phone in my hands like it was a grenade. And you know what's the weirdest part? My first feeling wasn't anger, not even pain. It was emptiness. Like someone had pulled the plug and the light inside me just went out. I haven't told her I know yet. For now, I just walk around like a zombie, watching her as if she's a stranger. We have breakfast together, and I see her in a new light. Every glance, every word. It's like a mystery. Who the hell are you? This is just the beginning. I need time to process everything. But damn, this is going to be a long story. It's been 2 days since I opened that folder. And you know what? I still haven't told her. Not because I'm a coward, if that's what you're thinking. I just don't know how to start this conversation. This isn't, "Oh, honey, did you buy a new shampoo?" This is, "Hey, why are you doing this for money and hiding it from me?" Yesterday morning, we had breakfast together. She poured me coffee, added sugar, just like always. And I watched her stir it with a spoon, so casually as if nothing had changed. But for me, everything was different. I wasn't just looking at my wife. I was looking at a woman with secrets. Secrets that now stood between us like an invisible wall. "You look lost in thought," she said, raising an eyebrow. "Just tired," I replied, smiling like an idiot. And at that moment, I realized I had started doing the same thing she was doing. Lying. Pretending. And that was the shittiest feeling in the world. Later, I decided to do some investigating. While she was in the shower, I grabbed her phone again. My heart was pounding like I was about to rob a bank. And you know what I found? Not just her accounts, messages, with a bunch of men. Some were just fans, sending her compliments. But others were personal, intimate. And judging by the timestamps, this had been going on for over a year. I sat on the floor next to our bed, staring at the screen, while the sound of the shower rumbled like a distant storm. I'm not a jealous psycho, I swear. But this felt like a knife to the gut. Not just because of what she was doing, but because all this time, I thought we were a team, that we had no secrets. Turns out, I was just playing a role in her show. When she came out, I had already hidden her phone and pretended to be watching the news. "Everything okay?" she asked, towel drying her hair. "Yeah, all good," I lied. For the 100th time. I don't know how much longer I can do this. Maybe I'll tell her tomorrow, or the day after, or right now. Who knows? "Okay, guys, I finally did it," I told her. Well, if you can call it that. It went, let's just say, not according to plan. I thought I'd be able to sit down, have a calm conversation, ask questions, get answers, like an adult, like adults do, but no. This was a disaster, with ground zero right in our living room. It started because I just couldn't hold it in anymore. Every time she asked, "How was your day?" It felt like a joke. Every look she gave me, It felt like she was an actress playing the role of my wife, while I sat in the front row, realizing the whole thing was a cheap production. That night, we were sitting on the couch, watching some dumb show I wasn't even paying attention to. She laughed at the jokes, and I just looked at her thinking, "Who the hell are you?" And suddenly the words just came out. "Are you cheating on me?" I asked. Just like that. No build-up, no warning. She froze, like I had thrown a bucket of ice water on her. The smile vanished. Slowly, she turned to me and said, "What?" I laughed, not because it was funny, but because I was losing my damn mind. "Oh, come on, you know what I mean. OnlyFans ? Pornhub? Messages? Does that count as cheating, or do we have new rules I wasn't aware of?" Silence, thick enough to cut with a knife. Then she spoke, calmly, too calmly. "Tom, it's not what you think." "Oh, yeah? Then what do I think? That this is some kind of art project? Or are you just exploring the boundaries of self-expression?" And then she snapped, "I didn't do this to hurt you, it's just a job. It's money. It has nothing to do with you." A job, money, nothing to do with me. Honestly, I expected anything. Tears, apologies, maybe even some half-assed excuse like it was a mistake. But hearing that it had nothing to do with me, that was probably the worst part. "Do you realize I feel like an idiot?" I said, standing up. "Tom, I never wanted you to feel that way. It's complicated." Complicated? Math in school was complicated. This question mark, this was betrayal, wrapped in layers of justification. I left. Just walked out of the house, not knowing where to go, got in my car, started it, then turned it off. Sat there in silence, staring at my own reflection in the windshield, at a face that felt like a stranger's. I don't know what to do next. Came home late that night, she was asleep, or pretending to be. This isn't the end, not even the middle, just a crack, and now the truth is starting to seep through. After that night, the house became different. You know that feeling when the air gets heavier? We live under the same roof, but it feels like there's an entire universe between us. I walk into the kitchen. She walks out. I sit on the couch. She goes to the bedroom. A silent dance of avoidance and unspoken words. But last night we finally talked again. Well, if you can call it talking. More like a verbal fist fight with no gloves. She was sitting at the table with her laptop, pretending to work. I couldn't take it anymore. "Are we just going to act like everything's normal?" I asked. She didn't look up. "What do you want me to say, Tom?" "I want to understand how this happened. When? Why? What was wrong with me?" That's when she finally looked at me. Not with anger, with exhaustion. Like I was some complicated equation she had no energy to solve. "It's not about you," she said quietly. "Oh, really? Then who's it about? The mailman? That guy from your messages who calls you a goddess?" She sighed, closed her laptop. I felt like I was suffocating, Tom. Work, routine, the same thing every day. I wanted to feel like someone else again, not just your wife. Those words felt like a slap in the face. I thought marriage was about being someone's person, but to her, it was a cage. "So, to feel free, you started making videos for other men?" I asked, not hiding my anger. "You're simplifying it. It gave me confidence. Confidence I lost a long time ago. It was mine. My choice. Mine. 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 And me? What was I? Just a background character in her little drama? A piece of furniture in the house where she lived her real life?" I slept on the couch that night. Lay there staring at the ceiling, thinking about how easily things break. We built this for 6 years, and it collapsed in 6 seconds. This morning, we didn't say a word to each other. She left for work. I'm sitting here, writing to you. You know, I know how to fix cars. Find the problem, take it apart, repair it. But this isn't a car. This is something I don't know how to fix. And maybe the scariest part is, I don't even know if I want to fix it. I thought I'd hit rock bottom. Turns out it was deeper than I imagined. You know how it is with rust on an old pickup truck. The paint still holds up on the surface, but if you scratch it just a little, the metal crumbles like dust. That's exactly how it was with us. After our last conversation, I decided I needed time, space, at least the illusion of control. I rented a cheap motel room on the outskirts of town. The view from the window was a parking lot with one crooked palm tree and a dumpster. Poetic, right? But here's the weird part. I thought it would be easier. I thought leaving would make everything clear. Okay, Tom, you're hurt, betrayed, time to move on. Instead, there was just emptiness, like I'd forgotten who I was without her. But then came the real kicker. I got a message from her friend, Lisa. The same Lisa she did yoga with and drank green smoothies with. Lisa wrote, "I didn't want to get involved, but you need to know. Emily was seeing one of her followers. They met up a few times. I'm sorry." I stared at the screen like it was a piece of ice melting in my hand. At first, I didn't believe it. Then I laughed. You know, that kind of nervous laugh when you don't know whether to cry or scream. And then, anger. The kind that made me want to smash my phone against the wall. I drove back home, just barged into the apartment, not caring what she was doing. She was in the kitchen, slicing a tomato like nothing had happened. I stormed in like a hurricane. "Who is he?" I asked. No greetings, no small talk. She froze, the knife in her hand. "Tom, what are you talking about?" "Talking? Lisa told me everything. So who is he, Emily? Just another follower? Or is he special now?" And you know what she did? She sat down and cried. Not hysterically, quietly, almost calmly. "It was a mistake," she said through tears. "I was lost. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't mean to hurt you." A phrase they must hand out at the betrayal store on your way out. I left again. But this time, not because I didn't know what to say, but because I did. I could have yelled. I could have accused. But why? She'd already said everything without words. Now I'm sitting in this dingy motel room drinking cheap whiskey from a plastic cup, thinking, we always think cheating is about the bedroom. But really, it's about the cracks. The rust beneath the paint you don't notice until the whole thing falls apart. I thought I needed time to figure things out. Turns out I needed to reach a point where there was nothing left to figure out. A week had passed since I left. At first, I just existed. Lived on autopilot. Woke up, ate, tried not to think, failed, slept again. You know what the worst part is? You can leave a person, but you can't leave the thoughts. They sit with you, like an annoying hitchhiker you never invited. On the third day of silence, she texted, "We need to talk." And I went. Not because I wanted to, but because I needed to put an end to this, not leave it hanging like a rotten thread in my mind. When I walked into the apartment, everything looked the same as always. The same couch, the same photos on the wall where we're smiling like a yogurt commercial couple. Only now, it all felt so fake I wanted to tear them down and throw them out. She was sitting at the table, hands clasped like she was holding herself together. "Tom, I don't know how to start," she said quietly. "Start with the truth. No filters. No, it was complicated. Just say it." She took a deep breath. "It started when I felt like I was losing myself. Sounds stupid, I know. I wanted to feel like I could control something in my life. OnlyFans seemed harmless. And then, he showed up. We started talking. It was exciting. He saw something in me that I hadn't seen in myself for a long time. Not Tom's wife, but just me. I stayed silent. Listened. Every word felt like a punch to the gut, but I listened. "And what?" I asked when she paused. "Was he better than me? More interesting? Or just new?" She lowered her head. "It wasn't about him. It was about me. I was looking for what I'd lost. The irony, right? She was looking for herself by destroying us. Like if you lose your keys, you burn down the house to make it easier to search." I looked at her. at the woman I'd spent 6 years with. And I realized one simple thing. I don't hate her. I'm just tired of her, of the lies, of trying to save something that's already drowned. I'm filing for divorce, I said calmly. No yelling, no drama. She nodded, didn't cry, didn't beg, just nodded. And that's how our story ended. Not with a bang, not with a tragedy, just a quiet the end, like in a bad movie. I walked out of the apartment, got in my car, and for the first time in a long time, I felt emptiness. But it wasn't the same emptiness that had been haunting me. This was the kind of emptiness that leaves room for something new. Time is a funny thing. It either crawls like a hungover snail or races like a train you can't catch. The last month has been both at the same time. We filed for divorce, papers signed. The lawyers gave their boring, everything's in order, as if this was just a parking ticket and not the end of an entire life. I thought I'd feel relieved afterward, like, that's it, the weight is off. Now I'm free as the wind. But you know the irony? Freedom isn't free. It has a price, and you don't pay for it with money. You pay for it with silence. The silence when you come home and no one asks how your day was. When your phone stays quiet because those silly messages that once seemed trivial are now just memories. I tried to distract myself. Went to a bar with friends I had almost forgotten during my years of marriage. They told stories, laughed, drank, and I just sat there, thinking how weird it is. You can be surrounded by people and still feel completely alone. A couple of times I caught myself thinking, what if I could turn it all back? Maybe I could forgive, forget, pretend it was just a bad dream? But then I remembered her eyes that day when she confessed. No fear, no regret, just exhaustion, like she had been tired of being my wife long before I even realized I was losing her. Last week, I saw her by accident at a cafe. She was sitting with someone, not the guy from the messages, just someone. They were laughing. And you know what I felt? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. No pain, no anger, no jealousy. Just emptiness. But it was the right kind of emptiness, like a blank sheet of paper, one you can still write something on. That evening, I came home and, for the first time in a long while, it didn't feel like just a place where I hid from memories. It was just my place. I don't know what comes next. Maybe a new chapter. Maybe just an epilogue. But now, I finally understand. Sometimes freedom isn't about walking away from someone. It's about letting go of what was never yours to hold on to anymore. There's just one last part left. And I want it to be about me. Not her, not us, just me. Well, here we are, the final chapter. I don't know if anyone was waiting for it, but I needed to write it. For myself. It's been 3 months since we signed the papers and officially stopped being Tom and Emily. Funny how easy it is on paper, yet so damn hard in your head. But you know what? I survived. And more than that, I started living again. Life didn't suddenly turn glossy and perfect like an inspirational Instagram post. Number. I still wake up sometimes with that empty feeling, like something's off. I still glance at old things and catch myself thinking, remember when we... But now, they're just memories, not anchors. I've picked up a habit of morning walks, just wandering aimlessly, sometimes with coffee, sometimes with headphones. And one of those mornings, I met her. Not Emily, someone else. She was walking a huge dog, one that decided my sneakers were his mortal enemy. He's usually friendly, I swear, she said, trying to pull him away. We laughed, and it was real laughter. No bitterness, no forced politeness. Just a simple, genuine moment. We started talking. Her name is Sam. She hates raisins and pastries and thinks movies should always have subtitles, even if you know the language. Funny, but those little things caught my attention. We met a few more times. No expectations, no promises, just conversations, coffee, walks. And you know what I realized? I'm not broken. I don't need to be fixed or saved. I am who I am, with all my cracks, mistakes, and past. And that's okay. I don't know where this will lead. Maybe nowhere. Maybe it's just a random encounter. And that's fine, because for the first time in a long while, I'm not afraid of what's next. So, yeah, that's my story. It started with betrayal and pain, and it ends with freedom. Not the kind where you're running from something, the kind where you're moving towards something new. If you're at rock bottom right now, trust me, this isn't the end. It's just the starting point. Thank you to everyone who read, commented, got angry, supported me. You helped me more than you know. The end. Or maybe the beginning.